Welcome back, Legion. Today I want to talk to you guys about how to make progress in your training without getting injured. First thing I kind of want to talk about is this concept of training versus exercise. Now, the way we can kind of define exercise is just moving or doing something for the sake of doing it at any given time. Exercise can just be to get a bit of a pump on, to get a bit of a sweat, to burn some calories, get a little bit tired, but it's more about the here and now. Exercise is the one session that you just do it now, and you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. You may think you have a goal in mind, but you probably don't really have a plan that goes along with that goal. You're moving for the sake of moving. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with exercise, and there's definitely periods where it's just good just to get an exercise, just to move your body, just to do it for the sake of doing it. I think where people get a little confused though is they kind of think they're training, but in reality they're actually exercising. Now, the difference being that training has a plan and a goal or a target. So doing a training session has been designed with the goal in mind, and usually it's not about the here and now session. It's about get this session done, and then the next one, and then the next one, and it's about this accumulation over time. So there is a difference, and if you have a specific goal and you want to achieve something very specific, then there needs to be a plan in place. Now you are training. Once we've kind of got this training plan in place, it's important that the program itself emphasizes movement quality. Now, we're about the big movements here. So squat, hinge, lunge, push, pull, gait, and resisting force. They're kind of our big movement patterns. We've categorized it way deeper than that, but that's our general focus. Now, it's not always about you need to back squat to have stronger legs, because there's many variations of the squatting pattern that fit better for different people. Not everyone is going to be able to have a bar on their back and squat well. Should we all still squat, do that pattern? Yes, we definitely should, but maybe sometimes we're only doing it from a mobility point of view, or we're doing it just with our own body weight. Maybe we need to have some assistance in regards to some lifting shoes. It just depends, but we don't need to just always back squat to get strong legs, because there's so many different variations that we can add in. And that's just one example. But before you undertake a hard training program, make sure that the movements you are very, very competent at. That means you can execute them very well. So especially when you load them and they go heavier, that you can still perform the movement with high quality, even when it gets heavier, or when you get tired through lots of repetition. The next is to start too light. So don't get me wrong here, we're all about lifting some heavy things to get stronger, but too often we see people start with way too heavy weights, and it's impossible to make any kind of progress if you're training at your threshold from day one. So starting too light just means have an idea of what your maximum is, and then just pull a little bit off it. So generally what we'll use here is, shout out to Jim Wendler, who's the creator of 531. And this is actually one of his concepts, start too light. So you would have your 1 repetition max, your 100% of an exercise. Let's say it's a bench press, and your 1 rep max is 100 kilograms. Now, obviously, yes, you can determine percentages based off your 1 rep max, 100%, all for it. But what we like to do here is actually pull it back to 90 to potentially even 85% of that max, and this becomes your training max. So the idea of a training max is that it actually gives you this little bit of leeway in your training, because you're not going to feel 100% all the time. You're going to have good and bad days. It definitely doesn't mean you're not going to make any progress, that you're not going to get stronger. In the beginning, yes, it's going to feel a little bit too light, and this is okay, because this is going to give us room to grow. What it means is that we can, over time, slowly build the weights up more and more often. But it's important to factor in this training max. So the difference being, it's a little bit less than your 1 rep max. Your training max is the max that we're going to work off from the day to day. The next one is to progress slowly. Everyone is in such a rush. We always want this now. We want it now. The truth of the matter is that success takes time. There's a reason why a lot of people suggest that athletes don't really hit their peak until they are 28, because they need the experience, they need the exposure. And if you've been lucky enough to not be too injured during that period of time, you can generate a really good career towards that back end of that prime area, that 27, 28. This is assuming that you started when you were 16, 17, or even when you were 11. But you need that time to build into it, and strength and conditioning is exactly the same. You don't need to be lifting the big weights day one. But if you stay very consistent over time, you will get very, very strong. And then all of a sudden, it just weights that you used to lift, you just like throwing around like it's nothing. But if you're in a rush, what's going to happen is you're going to build up, and then you're going to hit a ceiling. In one, you're either not going to move at all for a very long time, or two, bang, injured, and then you need to start again anyway. And if you just continue to repeat this process, it's just going to be a vicious cycle. Train too hard, too heavy, too bang, injured. Or, bang, stop, now I can't go anywhere. Why can't I go anywhere? Because you need to accept the fact that sometimes we need to take one step back to take 2 steps forward. Hopefully that helped, guys. Appreciate it. Cheers.